Hello, guys. Welcome back to the realm with Elias Benavides. We are now in the 825 series, part 3. I want to thank my brother for helping me with part 1 and 2, and now I'm here by myself, and I'm going to go ahead and continue the stories of what happened when we lived in this house. We're not, due to the respect of the current owners, we're not sharing the actual name of the street, like I said previously, but we do call it 825 because those are the numbers of the address, okay? Now, don't go around doing research trying to find the house, okay? Now, a next story is my nephew. His name is Andy. He was little. He was like maybe 4 or 5 years old, and my mom would take care of him. And he was just a little boy. He loved running around the house. He loved doing, just playing games. And one time I was there, I was sitting in the living room, and he loved to play catch. And so I'll be honest, I wasn't an uncle that was out there playing, basketball with him or baseball. I mean, I would spend time with him, but not as much that I should have. And so he had just a regular tennis ball, and he gave me the tennis ball, and basically it was like catch, go catch and fetch, and I would just throw the ball out there, and he would go and, get it, and then he would come back and give me the ball. So there I was, just sitting, and my mom was there, and I was there, and we were just playing that game. So then, while we're doing that, I threw the ball, and it went into my room, and so my room was close enough that I could toss the ball inside the room. And I was trying to give him options because I had threw something. Like I said, the house wasn't big; it was small, so I was able to throw it to the kitchen. I was able to throw it to the dining room. So I threw it to my room. The door to my room was open. Now, if you knew the design of the house, there were 2 rooms that were right across from each other, and it was a small hallway. And in the middle of the hallway, there was a glass mirror, and it was a long mirror that was connected there that my parents had placed there. And so I threw the ball several times to my room, and he would come back and he would give me back the ball. But there was one incident that I threw it. He went to go get it, and he immediately came back, and he gave me the ball, and he said, "I don't want to play anymore." And he just sat down on the couch with my mom, his grandmother. And so we were a little confused. And I said, "Papi, I can still play with you. Here, I'll throw the ball." And he was like, "I don't want to play." And he looked, scared. So then I said, "Mijo, what's wrong? What's wrong?" And he said, "There's something in the mirror." And, you got to understand, this little boy's little. He never shared stories like that before. So then I said, "What do you mean?" I go, "What do you mean there's something in the mirror?" And he begins to describe to me, folks. He begins to describe to me the Grim Reaper. He said that when he ran into the hallway to grab the ball, that in the mirror was what appeared to be the Grand Reaper. And what surprised me is that he even mentioned that blade that he's common. It's always common to see the Grim Reaper, and he's always walking with I don't remember the name of the blade, but it's one of those blades that go like this. And he said that when he ran into the hallway, that it reached out to grab him, and he was so scared that he came back to us and said, "I do not want to play no more." And he goes, "There's something in the mirror." So my mom and I, we understood that things were happening in the house, and we were just surprised that my nephew, being at a young age, would see something like that. And of course, my other niece, if you go back to part 2, she had also experienced things as well. Now, another incident that we had with him, he said, we were all just there playing with him, and my mom again, myself, just playing with him. And at the same time, we're sitting in the living room, we're on the couch, and at the same time, we heard like someone run, and we were the only ones in the house, and we all looked towards the kitchen, and we saw what appeared to be a man with a white mask. I just ran from the restroom to my sister's room. I mean, it was just right across. And so when we saw that, I looked at my mother, and my mom, whispered to me so that my nephew couldn't hear, and said, "Did you see that?" And I said, yes, I did. So when we thought it was just us, my nephew, he says, Mamo, because he calls he calls my mom, that's the grandma name, Mamo. He goes, tell Tia Becky not to scare me. And we said, what do you mean? What do you mean, mijo? What are you talking about? And he goes, Tia Becky, she's wearing a mask, and she's wearing, like, he kind of described with like a cloak. He goes, and she just ran from the restroom to her room. Please tell her not to be scaring us. And me and mom were like, he saw it. And my nephew had experienced the Grim Reaper in the mirror, and also had seen this manifestation of something that was literally that we saw it. It wasn't transparent. It just was like a person running. And so it scared me, it scared my mom, and we were shocked that my nephew could unfortunately see it as well. All right, so those are the stories. Now let me share another story. I'm gonna call this one, Becky, Don't Scare Me Now. I just mentioned my sister, who's younger than me. She must have been around a teenager. And so my dad at the time every time we would mention about what was going on, my dad traveled a lot, so he didn't get to experience a lot of things because he was always out and about. He was a missionary, he was an evangelist, he was out there, ministering, going to church, and sometimes he would go into Mexico. He's a missionary. And so he didn't get to experience a lot of things because we were the ones that were basically at home. And one night he was actually home. And so he says that he was asleep with my mom, and that in the middle of the night he could hear, Daddy, Daddy. So he woke up and it was pitch dark in the room. And he said that right in front of his bed, there was a closet, and it was full of clothes. And when he looked, and it was dark, and he was trying, of course, to just to see what he was seeing, and where the daddy voice was coming. And he knew that it sounded like my sister Becky. Now here's the scary thing, friend. He claims that in the middle of the night, he saw my sister come out of the closet. Yes, I said that. He saw my sister come out of the closet and was looking at him and was going, Daddy, come here. And he was like, Becky, Becky. And that she was there, and she was, she had come out of the closet, but she wasn't actually completely out. She was just poking out her head and a little bit half of her torso. And she was just going, Daddy, come here. So then another one was another friend that was staying at our house. And he was also staying there. And so another thing that happened to him, he said, I visited your house once. And this one I didn't even know. Just a couple of days ago, I found out about this one. He said that he was staying at our house one time, and that my door, that in the middle of the night, he just woke up and he knew that something was going to happen. And he said that the door to my bedroom just quietly opened, and that he looked and he saw it completely. There was no one there, and it completely opened. So then, my friends, he says that he got up, he went into the kitchen, he went into the dining room, and then what he noticed was that even the front door of the house in the middle of the night was open. So who opened the door? The door was always locked. We didn't live in a good neighborhood. And so that amazed me. And that was a story that I didn't even know, and I'm glad he told me so that it could make this series. Now, guys, there are so many other stories that we would love to share, but we are out of time. But I want to thank you, and maybe perhaps in the future, we may just bring back the series, because I'm totally honest, we have so many other stories. So thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I say all the time, let's talk about the supernatural.